It's only when we understand the patterns in the data that we can think of using a statistical model at all in the first place. Okay, right? So what I want to do for you is, we have to do two things. One is, we have to look at patterns in the data. We have to look at some nice ways of taking some nice tables at them, right? Okay. So first, let's look at the data, right? So I now opening my RStudio. So now I want to start a new file. Okay. Right? Sure. Okay. Now you have to install two packages. Last time we installed a package like ggplot2 and dplyr. Now install a package called Palmo Penguins. Go to Tools and say Install Packages and install a package called Palmo Penguins. Yeah. Right? So downloaded a package called Palmo Penguins. So now what I must do is, I'm going to use field library. Okay. So three libraries I'm using: library dplyr, library ggplot2, and library Palmo Penguins. Yeah. Okay, so make sure that you've got all those screen packages in place. Yes. Yes.
Make open window.
Yeah, can everybody see this? Right? And this run this, make sure that all those libraries are properly installed. Right? So this should say that you should get this. Select A, Control A and Control Enter, and you should get this. Yeah? Is this running? Yes. Then we have to look at a data set called penguins. View penguins. So you have this data set. Right? Okay, are you getting this? So basically it is data on different species of penguins on different islands, and things like bill length, bill depth, flipper length, body mass, gender, and year. Yeah. 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 So dplyr, ggplot2, and view penguin. So make sure you can build the data set called penguins. Okay. Okay. Right. So can you see the data now? What is the data about? Yes. It is a species of penguins on 3 different, is a name called islands. Right? I mean, okay? Sure? Okay. Then you got penguin and other, right? So if you say summary penguins, see what you. Yes, you get data like this, right? Okay. Right? Library pick. Sure. Okay, now what you want to do is we want to ask the question. We want to ask what is this? If you look at the data, right? So if I say view penguins, right? So I got data on species, I got data of flipper length and body mass, right? Sure? Flipper length and body mass. So the question that I'm asking is, you know what's the flipper length of a penguin? What's the penguin's flipper? Those things that are there, right? They're actually supposed to be penguins are birds, right? But not all birds. What do you mean by a bird? How would you define a bird? That's a very interesting question. What's a bird? What do you think is a bird?
Wings fly. Those animals, creatures who has wings and can fly.
But honeybees also fly, no? And the birds is also bird. What's a bird? So obviously not something that flies, right? Honeybees fly. Honeybees are not birds. Lots of insects fly, right? Cat, right? So all us say no. So what's a bird? They are wings and beak. They are wings and beak, right?
They have more like tree attached to.
They have bees, right? But bats are bees, or insects have bees. There's a animal called a platypus which lays eggs, but which also has a bee, the mammal. He said they have a long lifespan, but tortoises, there's a tortoise which is born in it. It doesn't do US. It is just from the husband. So tortoises really live long. What's a bird? You see them all around. What's a bird? Other penguins don't fly, but they're still birds, no? Ostriches don't fly, they're still birds. So what's a bird? A biologist will tell you that a bird is an animal which has feathers. Only birds have feathers. Right? And they're modified scales. At one time, birds used to be dinosaurs. And then some dinosaurs became birds. Right? And the scales became feathers. Yeah, so birds are the only animal, any animal, totally what defines pathologically an animal as a bird is that it has feathers. Right? Not necessarily wings. But penguins have wings which are now modified as flippers. Because they need to swim, just like a dolphin. Right? So the question that we are asking is whether penguins which are bigger, which have a higher body mass, also have longer flippers. Yeah? Right? So do birds, so first and theoretical question is, do penguins which have a higher body mass also necessarily have longer flippers? Right? Sure. What do you think would be the answer? Would bigger birds also have longer flippers? Birds which have a higher body mass, would they also have a longer flippers? What do you think? They would? They would? What do you guys think? Any guess? Any guess? For example, spiral are small birds. You see those kites which fly around? Them bigger birds. Who's got lovely wings? The bigger ones. The bigger ones. The bigger ones. Right? Okay. So let's try to see whether, I would start with expecting like you do is bigger birds will also have longer flippers. So let's see what the data tells us, and that's the first step towards drawing a graph in art. Right, so what I'm going to do is, I'm going to draw a graph. On the x-axis, I'm going to put the body mass. On the y-axis, I'm going to put the flipper length. Right? And I'm going to draw a scattered area. That's what an economist should draw first. Right? Okay, and then you will see what the scatter diagram does, and I'm going to fit to a very mysterious object called the line of best fit. Right? These are regression lines. Forget to our introduction. You're going to see that. Right? And you have to see how you're going to get a picture like that, and you have to see how that is really a problematic way. The other ways of looking at, if you look at other ways of visualizing, which economists don't normally do, you get a different story. Right? How you need to have a different statistical model. Right? So first thing I do, exploring. So what we're going to do. The second thing that we're going to do today's class is understanding visually, right, how to actually look at the return of a stock and the risk of that stock. Right? How to risky. So if I can, how for example, if I give you 4 stocks, right? If I give you 4 shares, right? And then I ask you to recommend 2 to your grandfathers who just retired from being a school teacher and what is provision fund and all that, and would like to protect that, and 2 to a day trader, right? Okay, there's a friend of yours who's a day trader and your grandfather, and there are co-stocks. Which one would you recommend to your grandfather? Which one would you recommend to your day trader, right? And how you actually argue that pictorially, right? That's the 2 things that matter. I'm going to learn some of the statistics, but also more about how to actually visualize it. Once you cross that phase, then we go into statistical model building and other things. Right? But because understanding data, looking at data, visualizing data properly, telling the story with data, is also very important. Right? Okay, so now we're going to look at that flipper thing. Right? So now, I'm going to create a graph. I'm going to put the graph P. You can call it anything. Right? The command that calls for graphs is ggplot. Right? ggplot. Okay? Yeah? And then what is the data set I'm going to use? Penguins. Yeah? Right? So now, the computer also needs to know what is my x-axis and what's my y-axis. To draw a graph, you know where is the data, but that's not enough. You have to tell the computer what's going to be on the x-axis, what's going to be on the y-axis. Right? So specifying that is called the aesthetics. Right? X is equal to, so clipper length mn. Y is equal to body mass in grams. Can everybody see my screen now?
Yes.
Right? Sure. So ggplot payloads, some of them joined a little late, so let them catch up with writing this code.
So they active kara.
Okay. So what we are doing, folks who joined a little late, is we are making, so we are studying a hypothesis. We are looking at data on penguins, and we are looking at the flipper length and the body mass, and we are asking the question whether penguins that have a longer, so you see my x and y axis are wrong, right? My y axis should be the body mass, the x axis should be the flipper length, right? And the y axis should be flipper length, x axis should be body mass. Yeah? Right? So y axis flipper length, x axis body mass. Right? One.
So this is the input.
Hello?
Hybrid.
Yeah, Pallavi?
But then they do have to install on this, like this are already installed, right?
No, but you'll have to call them. No, they're in your compute, in their system, but they're not in this specific program. So it's like a drama. There are many characters in your play, but not all of them are on the stage at the same time, right? The relevant people have to be called off stage at the particular point of time, and then they go back and then you be done. It's like that. Yeah? Okay, so this year not installed Palmer penguins, please install Palmer penguins. That's a level. So what we are doing is, on the y-axis we have the flipper length of the penguin, on the x-axis we have the body mass. Right? Okay, just write this, all those who have, right? And then just select all this, Control A, and then the Control Enter, and then press P, and get a picture like this, nothing, right? Only on the x-axis you have body mass and the y-axis you have flipper length. But there is no data in the middle, right? Yeah, I'll do that. That's what I also need to keep these folks who turned up a little early engaged, no? Otherwise they'll get bored, so, right? Sure? So are you just getting x and y axis with nothing there? Right? So what we did was we specified the x and the y axis. Right? Okay? Sure? Okay, now we need to put the data also. So put a plus here and tell the computer that your geometry is a point geometry. You want the scatter diagram. Right? Geom understroke point. Yeah? Geom is a geometry, right? What kind of a geometry? For example, you can draw a histogram. They're called geom understroke bar. You'll call it density diagram. You'll call geom understroke density. You'll create a box diagram. You'll say geom understroke box. Right? You'll say all those kinds of things. So here we want only points. So the geometry is points. In fact, ggplot is called grammar of graphics. Plot and the gg, grammar. Right? So what we did was we first said what is the x and y axis. Now put it some more grammar on it. Another layer on it. We can put more layers on it. Right? To tell a richer and a richer and a richer story. Yeah?
So what is this OES like? I mean, ask the AES.
AES is we have to specify the x and the y axis, right? So first we specified the data. You have to tell the computer what is the x axis and the y axis, right? So I said y axis is flipper length in millimeters of the penguins, and the x axis is body mass grams, right? Yeah?
Yes.
Right?
So I'm getting an error actually, like object E not.
Because can you share your screen? Yeah, Pallavi, please share your screen and let's all of us decide why Pallavi is getting that mistake. Yeah, so Pallavi, please share your screen.
So I just need to check the audio.
Yeah?
Then yes, I had the obviously.
Yeah. Actually, hello?
Yes, sir. Isn't the war character?
Usually take in the stats and the list not a call greater than more than sign.
So Pallavi, your assignment sign is exactly ulta. You're creating the plot and putting it, right? So the arrow has to come first and the line has to come later. Yeah. Dash now, dash, yeah. Now run this.
Yeah, I have bubbles, but basically,
Yeah, because have you installed the library ggplot2? Show me your code.
But I think on the same.
No, you need to install the library ggplot2, no? So run that library ggplot2. Don't run, yeah. Just run that. Yeah. Not necessary. You can, anywhere is there, you have to run it. Yeah.
Sorry, it was
Yeah, now type, of course, now type in P now. At the bottom, just type P.
Small p.
In the console, small p. You've saved your object in a there, or you can put in the console also. Just run this, select this and run. Yeah, select this and run. Yeah. So now you see you're getting, okay, geom understroke point. Show me what is your code again. Plus geom, look at what your x and y axis are. Right? Y is equal to flipper understroke length understroke m, x is equal to body understroke mass and plus geom understroke point. Right? Object flipper understroke length understroke mm. Have you used the correct words?
Yes, sir. I'm giving the data I engineered, but
So there's obviously some. No, you are making an error, right? Unless we say we are making an error, we don't need to. Yeah. Yes, Pallavi.
admit करता है.
Oh.
तो ये से टू पुट पॉमा का अंडर को एक बॉय का अलग को पांच अंडर को
Yes. Yeah, correct. Now run this, Pallavi. Again. Right? Body understroke mass understroke G. Right? Okay. So just make sure those variables are there in your.
Yeah, this and that, because if we like this, then I do get to see the data. Like,
No, but see, this variable only body understroke body mass, no, in your data.
yes.
So if it is just body mass in the penguins data that you're getting, then just keep it at what is the data, because some packages might be running differently, right? So just whatever is the variable name in the data that you've got. In my data set that I've downloaded is body understroke mass understroke gram. In your case, it might be a different name. Just view the data, view penguins. Yeah, so you got a variable called body mass, right? Is body understroke mass? What's the name of the variable?
Body mass here.
Bo-
Mass not serious.
Yeah.
Plate, so is plate.
Yeah, but is it understroke?
Just a
Yeah, flipper understroke, because you got a little different, little maybe. Yeah, now run this. Yeah, you're getting great job. Right? Okay. Now can I resume my sharing? Yeah, so, yeah.
I think it has got to do the about and returning the name.
Yeah, obviously, no? So if you unshare, I'll be able to do that. Have you unshared?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. Okay, folks, you're getting this? Okay, if I run this now, I get this, right? And if I press P, I get a picture here, right? If I do this, so what does it say? Body mass in grams on the x-axis, flipper length on the y-axis. Yeah? So what do you think is the relationship? Positive. So our birds which have a higher body mass also have a longer flipper length. From this data, what does it seem? Tell me the story from this. We started with the hypothesis that birds which have a higher body mass will also have a longer flipper length. Does the data seem to support it? Yeah? Everybody thinks that? Sure? Is the data supporting that hypothesis? Okay. Now we want to put a line of best fit through this. Right? Yeah? Yes? You're making an error. The reason I keep on insisting, Jitendra, in saying that I'm making an error is then it means that I have to find out what the reason is, right? If I'm getting an error, means it is coming from somewhere, so it's not my responsibility. Right? Okay, so can you share your screen, Jitendra, and see what's the problem? Yeah? Yes, Jitendra, can you share? Yeah. I want to see where is the problem. Jitendra, V has to be capital. And it has to be in brackets. View what? View is a function, no? So it applies to the object penguin. So V capital.
So then let me can they either the materials.
And I think you're doing some chat GPT. Don't do that. You make mistakes. Yeah, that is all chat GPT. Okay, don't do chat GPT. Okay, V capital. Yeah. Okay, now just run. Jitendra, you can see the penguins, right? Hello? Hello?
So there are 3 plus signs.
Yeah. Jitendra, there is only one plus sign on the last line. You have put 3 plus signs. See, if you look at my code, I'll just share my screen and then you're able to see what the problem is. Can you see my screen? Yeah, so you can see that I've just got, it says I put a plus here because I have to add something which is on the next line. Right?
Okay, zero.
Yeah? Penguins, AC, flipper length, right? Are you getting the picture? Okay. Now we have to add a line to it, right? So what we have to do is to put a geometry which will smooth the picture. Just geom understroke smooth model is equal to linear model. So LM, not 1M. Right? Model is equal to LM. Right? And double quotes because it's a character. LM is a character. Linear model. A straight line, a linear line, right? A straight line is a linear function. So linear model. Okay, otherwise it will draw a freehand curve, which we don't want, which is called a low S, but we still haven't got there. Right? Plus geom understroke smooth model LM. Right? Okay? Sure? Yeah? LM. Linear model, double quotes here. LM. Yeah?
The sign after what?
Is equal to, yes, because you tell what is the model, no? Model can be various many things, no? So here's the model equals this time LM because there could be other ways of doing the model. So to say that use the linear model, put a straight line. Okay?
What's on?
All getting plot.
Brother? Where is the plus? It's you have to add a geometry, no? Where is the plus? You have to put a plus here, no? Where is the plus? Plus होता नहीं है तुझे कंप्यूटर पर? Equal to है shift कुड़े होता है? हाँ. इन्स्टॉल वाक्याला चला नव्हता का?
Ah, last bit.
मग कसं करायचं तुला राजा? आता हे सगळं इन्स्टॉल कोण करणार? आपलं काय असं नसतं ना पिक्चर की मध्ये आलं की कळलं. पिक्चरच्या मध्ये असं करतो का जातो येतो नंतर येतो संध्याकाळी तुला कळेल का स्टोरी पिक्चरची त्यामुळं यायचं असं तर रेग्युलरली आहे नाही तर मग सगळ्यांचाच वेळ जातो ना तुला एक्सप्लेन करण्यात, आहे की नाही? हे सगळे इन्स्टॉलर आहेत ना तुला.
अच्छा पैकेज ही इंस्टॉल कर दियो. हो.
Checker. Okay, folks, are you getting this? Yeah? Okay. Okay, it has put a free line curve, right? Because I made a mistake, right? I should have said, okay, right? It's put a free line curve because it actually should not have been model, it should have been method. Yeah? Right? So it should have been method is equal to LM. I'm so sorry. It should have been method is equal to LM, right? Method, linear model. Yeah? Just make that correction. Otherwise, you saw you got something like an S shape, no?
Yes.
Right? That is a very interesting thing, but you got a model, method is equal to LM. Right? Okay? So if you put this, and if you do this, then you would get something like this, right? Sure? That's a linear line of best fit, right? Okay? Line of best fit. Yeah? Right? So what does this tell you? What is your what would be your inference now about the relationship between flipper length and body mass? What would you infer?
What is that?
Pardon?
This is the average result. So like on average, then I say positive.
There is a positive. So on an average, birds which are fatter also will have longer flipper lengths, right? Okay. Now suppose you wanted to describe, because there are 3 different species of birds, right, in your data. Okay. And now you wanted to kind of show this result, right? Now you can show this result either separately or in the same graph, right? So if you want to show this separately, right, if you want to do a separate graph for each of the birds, right, so you can use the command facet understroke wrap, then draw a wiggle, tilde, and say species, right? Okay? Facet understroke wrap, tilde, species. Right, so you want to see whether this holds for all species. There are 3 different species, no? Right? It could be probably that some species are small, birds within some species are small compared to other species, and the smaller species also have a smaller flipper length. So what you're getting could be true across species, but might not be true for individual species. Right? So if you look at birds only within one species, you could find variations, right? So what you're really doing is controlling for the species, right? We're going to break it down and see whether birds of different species, this relationship holds for birds of all species. Right? Okay? Sure? So if you put it like this,
Yes, see.
you can see my screen? Okay. Okay. Oh, sorry.
नाही शेअर पण कर लो. बरोबर हे पण शेअर करावे.
होतं ते करतो. Yeah, can you see now my screen? Yeah, okay. So now what I've done is facet understroke wraps delta tilde, right? काय झालं?
नाही तुमको कॅमेरा नाही आहे ना स्क्रीनचा यावंत कसं नसतं.
माझा एकदम प्रिमिटिव्ह लॅपटॉप आहे.
कुठलं तुमचं आहे?
वरचा
तोच चालू आहे.
हा तोच चालू आहे.
तोच चालू आहे.
काय होतंय?
नाही
काय प्रॉब्लेम काय?
नाही आहे त्यांना तुमचं स्क्रीन दिसेल
कोणाला?
त्यांच्या रेकॉर्डिंग
पण पार्टिसिपंटला दिसतंय.
पण पार्टिसिपंटला स्क्रीन शेअर होती स्क्रीन होती मी दिसा
मी नाही दिसतोय. मी काय अमिताभ बच्चन नाही दिसायला. Okay. So can you see this facet of graph species? Sure. Okay. Now if you do this and then say P, you can see this for three different species, right? Yeah. So what does this mean? Now can you say what does it really mean? Does it really hold for all species?
Oh, yeah. So yes, I think the overall relationship holds for all the species, but I think there is a difference in the steepness of the
Yeah, and at different levels, right? So which are the thinnest? Which species is the thinnest? Adelie, right? And for Adelies, the flipper length doesn't increase so much with body mass. The gentoos are the fattest penguins, right? And they obviously have the longest flipper length, right? The gentoos are here, right? Yeah, and they have the fattest, they have the biggest fat. That's where the line is there. And the chin strap are the middle, right? Chin strap are the middle, right? Chin strap are in the middle. Sure? Okay? Right. So now, suppose you wanted to check this in your same in one graph, right? You wanted to see whether you want three separate graphs. You just want one graph, right? Okay. So you remove this. You kind of take this off, facet under stroke wrap. Right here, say color is equal to species, right? Color is equal to species, right? So in the aesthetics itself, you specify that draw the graph by color it separately by species, right? Okay? And if you run this,
She can use for the code.
yeah. So what I did was, I said, in the same graph now, I want to show these three lines, right? I don't want three separate graphs, right? I don't want three separate pictures. In this one graph, I want to show these three relationships, right? So I say, color this by species, right? So in the aesthetics, in the GG plot, where I specify the aesthetics, right? I want to color these by different species, right?
And the color is going to
Species. COL is equal to species. COL or color, whatever you write.
I get an error. So is it a color? Then there are two options. One is COL and one is COL.
Just write COL, whatever. Doesn't make a difference. Yeah, what are you getting?
So you want long
Error.
Yeah, so you should get something like this. Yeah. Yeah. But are you getting things like this? So Adelie, chin strap, and Gentoo, right? Sure? And there is a legend here. Right? Okay. So see this, for those who are not getting this, please check this. Yeah?
Okay, they top one X.
Yeah?
So, when we do the plotting, there is a message which comes that two rows which comprise the missing values were
I need to say we have to plot in GG for taking another data. For this software does it
Automatically radius tag, which it can't draw, no? The NAZ will automatically delete. Okay, so are you getting this now, Pallavi?
One degree error.
You're making an error. Can I see your screen? Yeah, are you understood the mistake?
No, yeah. So basically, I put one more blackish. At the end of slices, there was one single bracket that's still.
And do you know why there was only one bracket? Because here we have already got one bracket here, right? Specifying the AES. And then there is a bracket for the whole command. That's why there are two brackets here. Are you guys getting this? But check kar काय problem hai. Yeah? Everybody getting this, folks? Right?
What is the kind of meaning of this still that? So if I get it correct, that if I using T, so it's just going to, you have to give a different graphs.
No, yeah, that wrap, not the tilde, facet understroke wrap is the command which gives you different graphs. Right, so if I want to do this graph by different species and different genders, then I write facet understroke wrap tilde species plus sex, and it will give me two species, three species, two genders, so 6 kind of graphs it will give me. Right? Yeah? Sure? Are we getting this, folks? Everyone's getting this picture? Right? Okay, now, suppose I want to draw just one graph, just one regression line, but I want the colors to differ according to species. The scatter diagram, I want the colors to differ according to species, but I just want the one graph. You know, I draw initially one graph, all were black. I want to draw only one graph like that, but I want the colors to be different for different species. Right? Then I have to take this out from here. Right? And in my geom understroke point, color is equal to species. Right? So I now put the colors, so I specify the colors not in the basic aesthetics, basic framework of the diagram, right? But when I say when you're putting the dots, put different colors according to species. Right? When I specified in the original, when the first AES is really the basic, right? It gives you the structure of the graph. What are X and Y, etc. Right? Now if I run this, okay. It says object species not found, right? There's a mistake. The reason it's not bad because I have to then specify here what are my X and Y axis, right? Control C. I must specify that here. Control V. Color is equal to species. And then if I do P,
Successful.
So there's a be bias spread.
oh. What happened?
So easily you type color, then you get a if you the background actually because the color is jump point. Yeah, like this.
What do we get? If I do this and if I take the species off from here, right?
You also buy next this.
Yeah. So I now get the same diagram, just one line for everybody, but different dots for different kinds of animals, right? Different kinds of birds.
Can you show the photo base?
Yes, you can, of course. I don't want to view this bloody pregnancy.
So here's your way.
Yeah. So what I did was, I removed the species from here and put it in the aesthetics here. Pardon? Yeah, please take 2 minutes, take 5 minutes, no problem.
That whole P everything, na?
This. This. It is X. It's. Anyway. So. Yeah. Triple. G. X. Hey, boy. Wait.
Just for clarification.
Yeah.
So far we have got like three graphs. So I think the first two graphs, what you have done is that here kind of segregating the potent data like according to the species that one we are like, kind of picking in them on separate and that's
Sure.
then you're kind of superimposing everything in one day.
Yeah, but we are still keeping the different colors because we need to know how the different relationships look like.
Yeah, but yeah, is clear three relations, but you consider the last command that. And so we are not a easy one division name, but check for the split here.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So if you did, everybody's getting this?
Yeah, sure. You have 2 minutes.
Okay, while you are at it, I'll also tell you how you can write your labels nicely. Right? Because you really x-axis and y-axis are not too good here, right? Plus labs, x is equal to body mass, grams, y is equal to flipper length, cm. Right? So if you run this now, this may run, may not run. If you do this, yeah. So you now get body mass, flipper length, right? So much better looking. Yeah?
Code and
Yeah, I'll show you the code. Yeah, and if you want to choose colors and all that for your headings, right? So XY labels, you want them in fonts and all, right? So what you can do is, so suppose the x-axis, you want to write in red color. Element understroke text, right? Color is equal to red. Suppose you want to make the size really small, say 8, right? And you want to make it bold, right? So suppose just have this, right? So what I've done, axis.title.x, and I've specified the elements of the text, right? So color, size, and face. If I do this now, if I run this, it has not taken my color. Okay. Right? Axis.title.x. Right? Okay.
Okay, let's figure out why it's not taking those elements under stroke X. That axis dot title dot X is what. Okay, let's at the moment not work with this, right? We'll figure out why that's happening. Right, so are you able to get the titles X and Y axis? Yeah?
So, missionary movie, part.
Okay, I know why. Right? Okay, I made a mistake here. So I need to specify the themes. Right? So okay, sorry. No. This should be enough, I think. No.
So, option left.
Okay. Oh, sorry. Yeah, labs plus. I'm so sorry. Here plus, right? Yeah, Akash, correct? Yeah, correct. Right. So sorry. Yeah, thanks, Akash. So you see, I could get it in the red color. Right? So sorry. Yeah. Yeah. And then if I want size and all that, right, I can control for. So I want to make that a little small, right? And then I want to make it bold. Yes, if I do this, yes, so now this has become small and bold. Now I want to give you a task, right? Look at this code and add a y-axis also to this, right? Why label for the y-axis? Let the label for the y-axis be in yellow, right? Bold and small. You can control this size by choosing this 5. If you make this 5 10, then that'll be bigger. If you make this 15, that will be even bigger, right? So add a y-axis like I did an x-axis. You saw what happened when I did this x, right? Sure. So what I did was I put the x-axis and y-axis, and then I said what should be the theme of the titles, right? So what would you do? What would you add to the theme? Yeah. So you would put a comma here, right? And add below axis dot title dot y is equal to element understroke text, whatever color, whatever size, whatever font, right? So do it. We make an error, man. Just If you make an error, you will figure out what is the error.
每一日的中有就对个些的，对对，是的你有也去，以及是那些啊啊，我们的家路你都被领了，哎呦，也是呢，我我是别人，哎，一百多，一
是我的一毛病，而且变了，嗯嗯，better be
Getting? ये आ रहा है सबको?
So can I share this?
Yeah, please do. Please do share your screen. Yeah, stop presenting, Pallavi ma'am. So what is the error that is coming?
So error in let's execute modify. It is fail error.
Because the plus should be on the previous line. When you start a new line, on the next line, the plus should be on the previous line. You can't start a new line with a plus. Okay? So you see labs, the plus labs hai na aapka? The plus should be on the previous line and lab should be on the next line. New line should never start with a plus. If you're going something on the next line, you should tell R that the previous line should end with a plus and the next line, because when R ends plus reads plus at the end of a line, it knows that something new is coming. That there is a next line. But if it reads a plus, yeah, it's okay. Yeah, now run this. Yeah, of course it's working. Yeah? Yeah, so even now you have to put a y-axis as well. Coming? Getting? No? The first time you have to do something on your own. Just think through. What are you getting? But what are you big? What's the error? What is the error? But it is saying something in the line, no? What is it saying at the end? It is telling that you have made some error. What is it saying?
unexpected.
So you must have put too many brackets somewhere. Just check. So you must have put a double quote somewhere where it is not needed. It's even telling you भाजीत मीठ जास्त पडलंय म्हणून. The idea is to put less meat in the bhaji now. Practice. Everybody is getting that? Sure? येते? Error, unexpected comma, right? कुठे येते comma? ते सांगतं पण आहे ना comma कुठे? Geom understroke point, right? Okay, AES, Geom understroke method. See, ma'am, this is you have put a new line, no? New command, no? So it has to start with the plus, no? How can there be a comma?
Okay.
This is such a simple thing. Sure? Everybody's getting this?
Not simple for us.
Thoda. New layer is a new plus, no? Right? Everybody getting this? You're adding something. No, plus is you're adding a new layer, right? You're saying new labels, etc. So you keep on adding a plus, plus, plus. Sure? You got this? You can put a y-axis now. Just like theme axis dot तिथे कॉमा टाका आणि तेच परत कॉपी करून तिथे डॉट y घाला. Table axis dot title dot y and whatever color you want to choose. Just put a comma, copy that. Yeah? Are you guys getting this at the back? सगळ्यांना आलं? Yeah? Right? Sure? In the same comma, no? You're not adding anything new. All that to say is basically here, you have to put this, put a comma here, right? Copy this thing from here. Nothing else, right? Copy this thing from here. Control C. Put Control V here. Y. Right? Yellow. As simple as that, right? Sure? And then yeah, so you get this on the red and yellow and so on. Sure? Yeah, I'll just share this. I will accessible now. So all that I did was, yeah, right? Now I want you to do one homework, right? What have we done? We have looked at the relationship between body mass index for penguins and their flipper lens, and we have said bigger penguins will lead to generally have a higher body mass index. We plotted a scatter diagram, right? Sure. Now what I want you to do is to do the, you also know that not only are there 3 species of penguins, but they are on 3 islands. So instead of segregating everything by species, I want you to segregate everything by islands. Right? I want to see whether penguins, instead of considering penguins as different species, if you consider penguins as belonging to different islands, there are 3 islands there, what is the kind of result do you get? Can you tell the same story? Right? Okay? So how will you do that? What are the major changes that you will do here? One line you should be able to do this. You don't need to do much.
So what is the question, sir?
The question is, instead of doing this analysis, separating the data by species, the penguins are on 3 islands as well, right? Right? So I want to separate this by islands and not by species.
This and it.
How can you do it? You say islands. As simple as that. Everything else remains the same. Right? You get a story. And you can do everything like separate data for separate islands by facet and the histogram, 3 different, right? So you see so much flexibility you have for telling a story, right? You can't really do this in Excel. You can't. Yeah, you can even choose your color templates and so on. There are almost 650 colors in R. And there are also templates in R which are meant for people who are not so good at identifying colors visually. You know, some people are relatively less color sensitive than others, right? People are called colorblind, right? So even those will be able to tell you a story. So R also has templates for people who are challenged that way, right? Okay, and the reason I'm telling you this is a very important skill because, you know, when you're talking to clients, when you're talking to business, in the modern world, just reproducing tables after tables gets very boring. People lose attention, right? And not everybody is really number friendly. So you have to tell a nice visual story. Yeah, being able to tell a nice visual story is very, very important. Yeah? Right? Sure? Can you do this by islands? You can? Okay? Right? Now I'm going to do a different kind of a visual. So can everybody do it by islands? Very easy, right? Now I'm going to look at a different visualization. A visualization called a box plot. Right? Okay, visualization called a box plot. I'll tell you a very important, I'll tell you why the story is a little different. Yeah? So let me just take everything out from here. Right? Let me write color is equal to species. Okay. Let me remove this because this doesn't make sense anymore for a box plot. Right? Yeah? Right? And then here, I just write geom understroke box. Okay? Geom understroke box plot. Right? Geom understroke box plot. Right? Now the geometry is different. I'm not going to scatter diagram. I'm going to get what is called a box plot. I'll show you what a box plot looks like. Okay, so what's a box plot? Look carefully. Now, this says this is the distribution of the data for chinstrap penguins. The broad line is called the mustache. It's the mean of the data. The mean of the data, right? These are the 25 lower 25%, upper 75% quantiles. Right? So what does it say? It says actually it's a different story now. It says chinstrap penguins are the thinnest. Right? Adelie penguins are a little heavier than chinstrap penguins. But the mean flipper length for Adelie penguins is actually less than that for chinstrap penguins. But there is one penguin, one Adelie penguin, who has a very large flipper length compared for the species, and there is one who's got very small. Right, so this large outlier is there, and then there is the Gentoo penguins who are generally higher. Right, so Gentoo penguins are heavier and have a larger mean weight. Chinstrap penguins are the thinnest. So the story that we had got earlier, that heavier a penguin, the longer is the flipper length, is not really true. Right? Because as a species, Adelie penguins are fatter, but they have smaller flipper lengths. It's just that one Adelie penguin is very high and one is very small. There are so outliers, so you're getting that picture. In fact, if you look at that scatter, the color for the Adelie penguins will be below, right? You had all the data like this, some data here like this, right? So it says that's not really true. The story that you had of fatter penguins, right, bigger penguins also having flipper lengths is not true, because that's only true if you consider chinstrap penguins and Gentoo penguins, but for Adelie penguins, that's not really true. Yeah, you immediately got a different story with a different visualization, right? And if you want to make this more attractive, this color, instead of color, if you write fill, right? So go to the graph, and instead of color here, write fill. Fill. Okay. If you fill, see what you get. Yeah. This filled by species. Yeah.
So can you repeat this once more, like the code?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
What is it?
Yeah. So instead of I just wrote fill, it filled the box. Yeah.
In Pavio's species.
So if your different visualization tells you a different story.
Who's so it's very long.
Okay. Thanks. I'll do that, Sachin. Visible, no? Yeah, it's visible. It says sharing. How enough is visible to?
So I am getting the block box plots, or I also get the scatter plots. Like I think I have to remove something.
Yeah, you have to remove that geom understrokes point, no?
Yes. Point.
Ada? So different story now, no? Earlier you were saying different thing. Now we are saying different thing. So the kind of visualization you do is very important. Yeah. Economists will do it by default scatter diagram because they are taught regression. Right? Okay, but they will never look at other types of specializations which can be equally informative. Yeah? Are we getting this? Wonderful. You can tell us now. Yeah. No, so all that I did was change fill instead of color is equal to species, fill is equal to species. So you fill the color inside. Right? Okay. Now, box plot, what's a box plot? It tells you what is the mean of the data. It tells you what is the 25% quantile, 75% quantile, right? 25% quantile is a point says that 25% of the penguins are thinner than this. 75% of quantile says that 25% of the penguins are fatter than this. So it's the middle 50%, right? The mean and the lower 25%, the upper 25%, right? Okay, so that is it. But suppose you really want to see the distribution of the whole data. Is it that, you know, uh, for example, chinstrap penguins, right? Is the mean high because there are actually a lot of penguins who have long flipper lengths? Or is it that there are only few penguins which have a long flipper length, but a lot of penguins actually don't? So you want to look at the distribution of the data, right? You want to look at the distribution of the data, right? Okay, you want to look at the distribution of the data. So if the distribution is like this, like a surai, it means that there is little weight at the top, but a lot of distribution at the bottom. It's like it's like an umbrella. It means there's a lot of data at the top and very little at the bottom. It's like a cylinder. It means that the data is distributed uniformly across, right? Sure? That's what we want to do. And that is called a violin plot. Okay, so let's draw a violin plot now. Okay, let's draw a violin plot now. So all that you have to do is understroke box plot ki jagah, you have to write geom understroke violin, right? And see what you get.
One is a box plot, and the second one is irregular filling in the box.
Yeah, so geom understroke violin. Okay, right? So if you draw a violin plot, and because Okay, so look at the code. Can you see this now? I haven't?
You got disconnected.
Yeah.
You got disconnected.
Okay, I got disconnected from the screen. Yeah, okay. And somehow, yeah. Now, yeah, can we see it now? Yeah. So geom understroke violin, and I put alpha is equal to 0.4. Right. I'll tell you what that alpha is equal to 0.4. Right. If I didn't have alpha, geom understroke violin.
So after which part can you show? Like I just want the immediate just before this.
No, so all that instead of geom understroke box, I removed that geom understroke box and put a geom understroke violin because I want to draw a violin plot now. Yeah? Can you see this? Alpha is equal to 0.4. I'll tell you what that alpha is equal to 0.4 means. Right? Okay? If I didn't have alpha is equal to 0.4, if I just write this, geom understroke violin, and if I ran this, and if I said P, I get this picture, right? These are violin plots. So what does it say? In general, Gentoo penguins are heavier, but there is a lot of Gentoo penguins concentrated in this area, around 220 grams and so on, between 210 and 220 grams. But there are some at the bottom and there are a lot more at the top. Yeah? Similarly, you can see chinstrap.
Different from box plot. So how is it different from box plot?
The box plot was square, no? The box plot only told you what the mean was, what the 25% quantile and 75% quantile was, and whether there was any outliers, right? This is telling you the entire distribution of the data. It says that there is some data at the top here, then there is a lot in the middle here and some at the bottom. Right? Okay, but the point is that the Adderley and Chinstrap are superimposed on one another. So the mean weights of Adderley and Chinstrap are almost similar, but the average flip length of a Chinstrap is bigger than that of an Adderley. Right? So we want to also be able to see the Adderley beyond the chin strap, right? So we want to reduce the opacity of the chin strap. We want to make the colors more transparent. So we can see what is behind the chin strap also. We want to see the part of Gentoo which is behind the chin strap. Right? So what we do here? So here, the alpha parameter is what guide this. If I say alpha is equal to 0.4, right, then this is a parameter which sets transparency. Smaller the alpha, more transparent the colors, right? So if I do this now, if I do P, see now I can see both the distributions, right? I can see the Adderley distribution behind the chin strap. Yeah? So what is the difference between the Adderley and the chin strap distributions? Yeah? If you want to compare the weights of the relationship between flipper lens and weights for Adderley and chinstrap penguins, what would you say?
Chinstrap penguins have more weight.
So the average weight of a chinstrap. So for example, between 200 and say 170, 180 grams, a lot of chinstrap penguins are there. The clustering of the Adderley penguins is happening at around 190 grams. The clustering of the Adderley penguins. But there is a difference, right? There are lots of, relative to Adderley penguins, if you go to the top of the distribution with the Adderley penguin, there are not so many penguins. Whereas if you look at the distribution at the top of the chinstrap penguins, it's much broader. So there are more penguins at the top and the bottom in chinstrap compared to Adderley. right? And for Gen 2, you see that the mean weight, so most of penguins in Gen 2 are around 215 grams, right? But there are a lot of them at the top also. The top also, for example, around 225, 230 grams also, there is another clustering of penguins, right? And, flipper lens, 235, 230 grams. And at the bottom also, there are relatively few, right? So, three distributions are actually different. Yeah? You see how a graph like this can help you do this? So, we learned three different visualizations, right? We learned a scatter.
What is that?
Alpha is something. So if you change alpha is what? So if you look at these graphs, right? If you look at these plots, they are transparent plots, no? Yeah, so no, if you change that 0.4 to say 0.9, change it to 0.9 and see what happens. Change that 0.4 to 0.9 and see what happens. So you can't see the opacity has increased, no? So you can't see the red distribution beyond the green one. Yeah. So basically opacity, if you want to see behind also, then you can see. Right?
I have one more question regarding the lab. So, I see any of like both in both twice legs universe, right? Like on the axis we have I think we have the mass.
Body mass, and on the y-axis we have the flipper length.
Here the exact the spreading factor. So you can see that. Can you do this? This the diagram.
Yeah. Come again.
Yeah, actually, the call and
Your voice is breaking a little bit, Pallavi. So we learned three types of visualizations. Yeah, one is the scatter diagram. The other is a box plot. The third is a violin plot. So what is the idea? The library to be used is ggplot. First, you have to specify what is the data set, which is penguins. You have to specify what is the x and y axis, right? And if there are variables like island, species, and you have to decide whether you want them to be drawn separately or you want them to be in the same graph, just once, right? So you have to specify what is the color, etc. Depending upon, you wanted to do it by sex, then you have to say color is equal to sex or fill by sex, etc. In the aesthetics, they'll do everything separately for each step, right? Then you have to decide what is the geom you're going to do. For scatter, geom understroke point. For violin, geom understroke violin. For box plot, geom understroke box plot, right? And then you have to give titles. If you want to put a linear regression, it's a scatter diagram only will have a linear regression. So you can write an AES, right? You have to put the smoothing, geom understroke smooth, right? Then you can have titles that you can control the title, that you can save these graphs. The last thing that I will show you is that you can actually control also the aesthetics in a big way. For instance, before you go in for T, just install one more library, right? Just go to Tools, Install Packages, yeah, and say GG Themes, right? Install GG Themes, yeah, and then install, right? So now install GG Themes and say library GG Themes, yeah. Right, so install library GG Themes. Okay. Now suppose the graph that you have drawn, right? Well, how would it have looked like had it been drawn by the Economist magazine, for example? So put a plus here and say theme understroke Economist and say block, right? So put a plus and the next line add theme understroke Economist, right? If this were a picture coming in the magazine The Economist, because every magazine has its own themes, right? So how will it look like? So if you do this and if you press P, it will look like this. Right? So if you're in the Economist magazine, you'll get a picture like this. Right? If you're doing this for the Wall Street Journal, right? So if you put WSJ here, Wall Street Journal, theme understroke whilst WSJ. These are right. These are WSJ would have done it. Right. If you want to do this, if you want to reproduce a graph which are coming stata, then theme understroke stata. Yeah. This our stata graph would have looked like. Right. So you can play around a lot. Right. There are, if you explore the GG themes package, you'll see there are lots of themes you can control inside and all that. So if you do this,
Like,
yeah.
kind of economist. So I get
No, but did you actually install the package GG themes? Did you install the package Pallavi? Because it's a library, no? So you have to install it and then run and call it into your program. Yeah? Yeah, but you have to install, right? First, go to tool and install. Yeah? So you guys getting this? So now, right, if you really want to know what this is, go to Google, right? Go to Google. Okay, I'm going to Google, right? GG themes in R. Okay, and then a lot of help on GG themes in R will open, including a PDF, right? Which will give you. Right, so if you maybe I will to get it from here. So you have to say GG themes in R, right? And you see, enhance your plots with GG themes package in R, right? So if you go through this, and there's a GitHub and all that, right? If you go to this, Geeks for Geeks will teach you how to use that package GG themes line by line. Right? If you go to GG themes in R, this will tell you GG theme in R, it'll tell you how to use that line by line. Right? A connection can't be reached, but you can do that. Yeah, Pallavi? So theme understroke economist, right? If you think theme understroke economist, right? You'll get a picture like that, right? No, but have you loaded the library GG themes? And then are you saying theme understroke economist? Can I see your screen? Can you share your screen? But Pallavi, go up. Where is the library? Where is the library GG themes? You have not called it in your program. You have to run that, no? Have you run that? Unless you run that, how will it know that there is a library loaded? No, you just have to select it and press control enter. Right? Now run. Yeah, you got it, no? You have to run that library. It is not just enough writing the command. This is an editor. You have to send it to R, no? What you're writing is the editor. It's not R. R is the console below. You have to send the commands to R by selecting and saying control enter. Yeah? Okay, folks. So we'll take a break and we'll be back at 12:30. Right? For a cup of tea now. How many are familiar with concepts like t-tests and p-values and all those kinds of things? Not familiar? You're familiar? Great. Right. But is everybody familiar with ideas like t-tests and all that? No? Okay. We'll do that slowly as we come to that. So first let's understand how to explore data more, right? Before we come to okay. So now so we learned this, right? Any doubts about what we did in the morning? No? Okay. So let me now go back here. Let me share my screen with you. Okay. Entire screen. थोड़ा सा financial analysis करेंगे. In what you have learned, you can make money now. Right? It's important to make money, no? Okay. So we'll try to make some money now. Okay. Right. Can you see my screen now? Okay. So do you see my screen? So like last time we got Google and all that, right? Yeah. So now I'm going to get more data. Yeah, I'm going to get more data. Yeah. Right. And then I'm also going to get, I think, APPL Apple. Right. Okay. Sure. And then let me see what more data I can get. Right. So let me go to Yahoo Finance. Go to Yahoo Finance. Or say, let's work with Google and Amazon only. That's also enough. Right? So we don't really need to, let's not and Apple. Right? So let's try to get these three symbols. Do you know, you know how to do it, right? From last time. Install the library cont mode. Call it inside your program, library cont mode, get symbols Google, get symbols Amazon, get symbols Apple. Yeah? It's AAPL, okay, not APPL. The Apple is AAPL. Yeah, AAPL Apple. Apple, Amazon, Google. Yes, you've got three stocks. Yeah? And if I run them, I hope to be able to get all of them, which I'm getting. Yeah, so if I say AAPL, this is the Apple price. Right? Yeah, so make sure to get all these prices. We will do a little to and fro with, at the moment, with Excel and R. Right? We have to write data in Excel, get it back into R, and so on and so forth. Yeah? I hope you have set your working directory. Right. So, like you should do, I've set my working directory, set working directory, choose directory. I'm setting my working directory to the folder Varanasi, which I always like to do. If that folder goes, I'm also gone now because I've saved so much thing there. Right? Yeah. So, you got all the data? AMZN, AAPL, GWG, Google. Google is Google. Right? AMZ is Amazon. AAPL is Apple.
That is
Have you installed library count mod? पैकेज डाउनलोड किया है, उसको लाइब्रेरी काउंट मोड लिखा है, एस कैपिटल किया है. What was the mistake?
If you touch it, I have installed library on now, but उसको से नहीं किया था.
You have to run that, no?
पुराने वाले I भी बता.
बट आर को जानना भी पड़ेगा ना कि आप उसको रन करना चाहते हैं. ये तो बस एडिटर है फर्स्ट पेज, वो कोई एग्जीक्यूशन नहीं है. आप उसको जब तक आप उसको जब सिलेक्ट करके कंट्रोल एंटर ना करें, इट इज नॉट गोइंग टू गेट एग्जीक्यूट, है ना. आपने सिर्फ तेल बगल में रखा है, उसको कढ़ाई में डालोगे तभी तड़का पड़ेगा ना. अब कुछ भयानक एग्जांपल देता हूँ ये समझने के लिए. Yes, clear? Everybody got this? Okay? Right. Now we have to save this in 3 different CSV files. Write.csv. I'm going to say Goog. I'm going to say G1.csv. Some name I'm going to give. Write.csv. AMZN. G2.csv. Some name I'm giving. Write.csv. AAPL. G3.csv. Right? G1. So basically it will write Google as G1.csv. Amazon will go into G2.csv and Apple will go to G3.csv. And where will this go? In the directory you have selected as your working directory. So make sure that before you do this, you go to session, set working directory, and set the right directory where you want to work. Because otherwise you have to remember the path where this gets saved and all that, which is very boring. Right? Sure? Okay, let's also get NVIDIA Corporation. Technical stocks ही कर रहे तो technical stocks कर देते हैं. Get symbols. Right? So let me just copy it from here. And let me also get NVDA. Right? NVIDIA. You know who are the NVIDIA guys? Yeah? Chip makers, right? So we've got some tech stocks, some NVIDIA, etc. Yeah, somebody was saying something, Jitender? Yeah? Hello, yes?
And it makes it out separate there.
Directory. So go to session, go to session. You gone to session? Go to set working directory. Then it says choose directory, right? So some folder which would have set, no, we have created for this work. Okay. Yeah?
Yeah.
Everybody to do this? So now write them as G1, G2, G3 and G4.csv. Right? So these files have been written in a CSV file called G1. The Amazon is in G2, Apple is in G3, NVIDIA is in G4. Okay? Right? Yeah? What's the error? What is the message? But have you know you have to write .csv, no? What is the command that you've given? But have you put G1 and G1.csv in inverted quotes, double quotes? No. Because that's the file name, no? It's a character. Yep. Because there are characters, no? Anything which is a character, file name is a character. So R has to recognize that this is the name of a file, so it has to be a character. How does R know what it is? Have you downloaded Get Symbols NVDA? Have you put NVDA in double quotes?
Yes. Is Nike economic skills. And it is
Okay. So have you saved this in G1, G2, G3, G4? Okay. Now, open any Excel file. Right. Open any Excel file on your screen. Say, right. Open any Excel file. If I go your file, open where computer Varanasi, open. So if I say G1.csv, then you will get something like this, right? Google open price, Google high, Google low, Google close every day. Yeah? Google volume and so on. Google adjusted. Right? For about 1317 days. That's our entire data set. Yeah? Okay? Now, what I
So can you directly open it folder like phone actually?
yeah, so you can go to the folder and click on it, it will open. Yeah. See what I have to do? I'll close this. I open a folder, I open any Excel file. If I go to file, open, where it's in my folder Varanasi. What is the name of the file? G1.csv. Yeah? Can everybody open this? Right? Okay, now what I suggest is, look at the closing price. Okay? We want to get the percentage return on this file on a day-to-day basis. We want the percentage return on this file, on this data. So what's a return on a stock? If you want to calculate the return, daily return on a share, how will you find out? Today's price minus yesterday's price upon yesterday's price. That's the percentage change, right? Into 100. Right? Today's price minus yesterday's price upon yesterday's price will give you the proportionate difference between today and yesterday as a fraction of yesterday. If you multiply it by 100, you will get the percentage change. Right? Sure? Yeah? So if you want to get the percentage change, for example, if you look at Google Close, it's column E, right? So we want to now calculate E. So E3 is about 68.033 minus 68.3685 and all that I'll have to do. For example, if I want the percentage change on this date, on the first date, then that will have to be 68.033, which is the price on the second day, minus 68.3685, which is the price on the previous day, divided by 68.3685 into 100. I can do it in an automated fashion. Column E, row 3. Yeah? E3 minus column E, row 2, E2 upon E2, right? Into 100, right? Minus 0.5% was the return on the first day. Yeah? And then if I click it, these are all the returns, right? See, I went here, I said E3, E column third row, minus E column second row, into 100, upon E2, you put a plus before, so that our Excel knows that you're using a formula. So control plus E3 minus E2 into 100 upon E2.
Yes. So,
Yeah? E3 minus E2 into 100 upon E2. Everybody got this?
Yes.
Yeah. So now write, say Google here, right? Write Google here. Okay? Write Google here. And then select all this. Copy this.
Select from Google, right?
Yeah, select from Google. Select this whole thing. Then copy this. Yeah? Copy this. Go to a new file. Create a new file like this. And paste special 1, 2, 3 values. Right? So all these values will come here. So you got the values, all the returns for Google here. Right? Sure? Right. Similarly, do this whole thing for, say, similarly open G2. G2.csv. Yeah? Again, Amazon close. This is Amazon. So E3 minus E2 star 100 upon E2. Then click. Yeah? Sorry, I should have started from here. No. Yeah. E3 minus E2 star 100 upon E2, right? And then copy this down and say Amazon, right? Sure? Say Amazon. Now, E3 minus E2 into 100 divided by E2. डिनोमीटर में नहीं करना 100, न्यूमरेटर में 100 करना है, तो भी परसेंट आ जाएगा. डिनोमीटर को 100 से करोगे तो कुछ भी नहीं आएगा उधर. E3 minus E2 into 100, bracket close into 100 divided by E2. इसको कॉपी कर लें and then again paste special, right?
What is the formula to look at such a kind of Excel is formula policy in short?
No, you can't. So you have to just say click on this. Na? So E3 minus E2, and then this thing you'll just to extend it. See here, this box you see at the end here, just click on this. It can cover the whole thing. Yeah? So ये हो गया. Now we should open G3.
So are you giving the names here to the cell?
Yeah, so it was Amazon sticker. Na? Now this is Apple, right? So फिर से इधर E3 minus E2 star 100 upon E2. Yeah? Click. Yeah? And you should write, I'm writing everything in short case, okay? Apple. Yeah? Okay? Select. Hey. Yeah. Go back to that file and say paste 1, 2, 3, Apple. Right?
So
No, we are going to put in a separate new file, no?
inside or in the same page?
No, new file. I said new. Because reading will be a problem. Please put all this into a new file. Copy paste into a new file. सेम फाइल में मत करो. आप लोग सब पुराना प्रोग्राम नया प्रोग्राम सब एक ही साथ करते हो. या put it into a new file. और उधर कुछ NA आता होगा ना dash. That is because you are pasting the formula. You have to paste values. If you don't paste values, then you just carry over the formula. It will say there is no formula, right? So you get NA. You have to paste values. Right?
Yes. In energies.
Finally, NVIDIA, right?
It is.
Oh. Oh. Wow.
Yeah? NVIDIA. Okay? Control C. Come here, edit, paste, values. Yeah, so we got all this in the first, right? If you get this into one single spreadsheet,
Yeah. Stop.
Yeah? Pardon? Okay. You want me to make it bigger? एकाची प्रॉब्लेम आहे इथे.
I see you. Beep.
Now is it more visible? Yeah? किया सब अभी इसको everybody's got this up to this point. Everybody? Okay, now save this. File save as. Yeah, take 2 more minutes, no problem.
Sleepy. Oh, little right.
We are here, no?
Good. Yeah. Yeah. This. Right. Peaceful. Oh. Eat it. Setting things. It is about this is the spirits and limits. Yes, Michelle on Pumo. Mario. It's the what? Yeah. So, what? I didn't. Saradero in the oh, and a real long which not letting. When put up. Okay. Easy.
हो गया? Okay, now file save as. Again, the same folder where you are working. I would save this as prices. Right? I would save this as prices and save it as a CSV file. Right? CSV comma delimited. Save it as a file called prices.csv. Prices.csv. Right? Prices.csv. Okay, just say prices. The .csv will come by default. If you save it as a comma delimited, .csv will come as default. You don't have to write prices.csv as a file name. Just say prices. Okay? Prices, and that will be saved as CSV. Okay? Prices.csv, right? And say save. Prices.csv. Okay, file, save as, Varanasi, prices, go to XCSV, CSV and say save. Yeah, and we keep on saying yes. So prices.csv, I've saved this file in a folder, whatever working folder I had called prices.csv. Right? Okay, now we have to do some data analysis of this. Okay. Okay. So now open your R. We'll open a new file. Right? We'll open a new folder. Right? Okay. Sorry, we'll open a new file because we need to have a very clean kind of a thing. So I'm opening a new R script. Go to file, say new file, open a new R script. Then we need library dplyr library ggplot2, right? I need these two libraries. Okay. Then I have to read the data. Yeah. Okay. So I'll give it the data, say I Indian School for Politics, whatever name I feel like. ISPE, right? Read.csv, prices.csv. Right? I'm assuming that you have set your path correct, you have set your working directory properly and saved it in the working directory. If you're not saved it in the working directory, you have to specify the path, which I don't know what path you have, so I can't write it here. Sure. And then, okay, so my data has been read. Now, if I say view ISPE, I'll be able to see the data. Right, this is the data. Google, Amazon, Apple, Nvidia. Right? Yes. There's no code. It's only just the lines, no? I've just read the price. You have to put the file name in double quotes. When you want to write, write.csv. When you want to read, read.csv. If you want to do nothing, you have to write do nothing.csv. Don't take me serious. Okay? Right? Sure? Getting there? Flux? Yeah. So now, first let me just do summary ISPE. Right? What does it tell me? It tells me, for example, for Google, the minimum value is minus 11%, the maximum is 9%, the mean value is mean return is 0.08, the median return is about 0.20, right? And these are the lower first quartile and the third quartile. Right? Similarly, for Amazon, it will tell you the mean returns are minus 14%, the maximum return is 13%, right? The mean return, the average return is about 0.07%, median return is 0.06%, max and the mean, right? Now, can you tell me what's the difference between, say, just looking at this, what's the difference between Google prices and Amazon prices? From a financial perspective, what's the difference between the Google prices and Amazon price and say Amazon prices?
You see the polar there. You take nothing because right.
You read the data and do a summary. Anything you feel like. You can write anything. Any object it will write as. If you have a cat and the cat's name is Minu, write Minu. If you like your cats. Whatever you want to. You have complete freedom of expression there. Huh? Yeah. No, you can write anything you feel like. Anything that makes you comfortable, you can remember.
Just tên là mi sẽ tốt mi mi tốt nhớ mi sẽ nhớ mi 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 tốt chắc anh nếu tôi giải sự vật như với sẽ ta
Hi, Douglas. Where are you? No, my class will get over in about half an hour. Yeah. Okay. I will get done at 1:30. 1:30. 1:30. Yeah? Okay. Sure? Summary ISPE. Everybody's getting this? Okay. Tell me the difference, just on the basis of this summary, tell me the difference between, there's an important difference in the Google, between the Google and the Amazon stocks. There's a very important difference between the Google and the Amazon stocks. What is that difference?
So one difference is I see is, like, first of all, there is a divergence between the mean and the median.
Yes, there's a difference. The median returns for Google are much higher than the median returns for Amazon. Though the mean returns are the same, right? Why is that the case? It means that a lot of returns for Google are on the positive side. That's why the median returns are higher, right? Okay, we'll now learn to kind of see this pictorially, graphically, right? Sure. So now, right, P is equal to ggplot, right? ggplot, ISPE, AES, yeah? Okay. So first we'll start with y-axis Google plus geom understroke ylin. Just do this much.
Perfect.
Sorry. I'm sorry. What am I doing? What am I doing?
You got
Sorry. Hey, what should be the x-axis? What should be the x-axis? Yeah? Pardon? Time period, no. I want to get the distribution of returns. Yeah. So what should be the x and the y axis? Now think of this carefully. Okay. Right. So what we'll do is, we'll draw a little different diagram because this needs me to specify. Okay. Right. So what is this? If I do this, this gives me the probability distribution of the Google returns. Right? This gives me the probability distribution of the Google returns. Right? Okay, so what does it say? The mean returns are of course 0, almost 0, right? Very little around 0, but there can be negative, -10, +10, etc., etc. Right? Pardon? Yeah. Yeah? Right?
So like I can still see the graph of the previous plots, like the one that you did for the plate. So
No. So there must be some error in what you are doing. The current graph is not running. So it means that you are making some error here. Right? It says HSP is just the previous graph because if the new graph gets drawn correctly, the name is still P, so it will rewrite the previous graph, right? Currently, because the new graph is not generated, it's still showing you the previous graph. No, but so just call this new, and if there is an error, it will say I can't draw this new. Okay? Just say new, and you'll get a distribution like this. Yeah, you'll get a distribution like this. Anything you want to put.
no, I don't take an error. I get the sick as an output.
No, so save it as a new, put it into a new object, say call it new and then check for new. Then if you have made an error, it will tell you what the error is. Yeah?
No error actually. No error, but I don't see the graph. I still see the biggest slope.
But have you typed new? And then have you written new again in the console?
Yes.
So can you share your screen? Yeah. So I'm stopping presenting. Show me your screen. Yeah, Pallavi. Can I see your screen?
Yes.
Okay. So where is I can't see the screen. Yeah, okay. So what you have to type is, so write new, no, at the bottom in console. Just type new now. Yeah, just type and then run this. Control enter. Okay, so it's now saying error, right? You have to write geom understroke density. Now we are drawing a different graph. Geom understroke density. We are not doing a violin graph anymore, Pallavi.
So density.
Yeah, density. Yeah, correct. Now run this. Yeah, right? Okay. Okay. So now can you unshare? I'll present mine. Okay. Right. Now let's fill this. Let's fill this with pink color. Yeah. Sure. And so try one thing. You got this filled with pink color. If you put it inside the aesthetics, okay. Now, if you put this fill outside the aesthetics, see what happens. Yeah, so there is no legend, right? If you put it inside the aesthetic, it will give you a legend, pink, right? Now you don't, you just got this inside the, right? So this is the distribution of the Google returns. Yeah, sure. So if you wanted to kind of know, say, okay, now let's try to see how Amazon returns compare with this. Okay, how Amazon returns compare with this. So now put another geom under stroke density. Yeah, AES X is equal to Amazon, right? Fill is equal to green. So the green is Amazon. And because we want to see how they superimpose on each other, we would like to keep it transparent, right? Because some of them would superimpose on each other. Yeah? Right? Sure? Okay. So now you are seeing the two distributions. So the pink is the Google, the green is the Amazon. Yeah? And what does it say? Yeah? Been able to draw this? Sure? So you got the density of two returns, right? Okay? Okay, folks? And now if you do this, So you got the probability distributions of the density for the distributions of the two returns, right? So you could see it like this. Yeah, this is how it would look like, right? So if you look at this picture, what does this picture tell you about the pink returns are the Amazon, the green returns, the pink returns are the Google, the green returns are the Amazon. So just look at this picture, and what does this picture tell you? That the mean returns for Amazon are 0. The mean returns for Google are a little more than 0, right? Sure, the concentration, this is the density, right? So the higher the peak, the more concentrated are the returns on those values. Higher the peak, the more concentrated are. So basically the Google returns are really concentrated in a little bit above 0. Right? The Amazon returns are exactly 0. Right? Okay. But the Amazon returns are also more spread out, right? If you look at the green returns, then the tails are a little fatter here, right? Sure. So higher positive returns or higher negative returns are more likely with Google, with more likely with Amazon compared to Google. Because you see these tails are outside, right? The green returns are coming out. The pink returns are all concentrated around some 0.08 or something. The green returns are concentrated around 0, but they're also more spread out. Right? So the chances that you get if you're investing in Amazon, your average returns will be 0, but on some days you might get positive returns, some days you might get negative returns. More, and that is more likely relative to the Google stock. The Google stock has concentrated returns of 0.08% and it's not varying too much. Right? So if one of your friends was a day trader and the other client was your grandmother, right? You wanted to put your grandmother's money in a safe place and give your trader a stock where he can play around, right? A stock which has a lot of volatility so he can do something every day, right? Which stock would you recommend to whom? What would you recommend to your grandmother and what would you recommend to your trader friend? The green one you would recommend to whom and the pink one you would recommend to whom? The pink one you recommend to your grandmother, right? We get a steady return of 0.08% and the returns don't seem to vary too much from that. Whereas the green returns are around 0, but they also high positive returns or high positive, high negative returns are also possible, right? Do negative returns mean losses for day traders? Do negative returns mean losses for day traders? No. If you are a good day trader and if you know a stock is priced 90 today and going to sell for 80 tomorrow, what would you do? You'd sell it off today and buy it back tomorrow, no? You'll make a profit of 10 bucks still. Right? So as long as you can predict the market directions well, then you can, which are called short options, right? There are long options and short options, right? Your long option is where you think the price will rise tomorrow, so you buy today. When you think that the price is going to fall tomorrow, you get into a contract where you say, I will sell today and buy tomorrow. Right? Okay, so traders require volatility. If the price of a stock doesn't change at all, then what will a day trader do with it? If there is a share price which is just constantly at 100, then day traders have no business, no? If there is a share price which increases by 0.08% every day on a steady way, then again day traders have nothing to do because all you can do is to buy it and keep it. You're going to sell it at some point, right? That's where grandmothers should be doing. Whereas stocks which are plus and minus, etc., that's what traders should be doing. Right? Now we've got two more stocks, Apple and Nvidia. You tell me between Apple and Nvidia, which ones would you ask your grandmother to buy and which ones would you ask a trader friend to go in? Yeah? Sure? That's your homework, Apple and Nvidia.
못된 거.
This maybe
To the daily trader. Apple to Shashi, everybody agree with her? Is she right? Be careful. Otherwise, her grandmother might be in trouble if you recommend the wrong things. So do it. And you can draw this on the same graph as well, right? There will be a lot of distributions, but so if I were really so much interested in investing, then I would buy the pink stock and keep it as for a long time. And I would then build a statistical model and try to predict prices for the green stock every day and then be on the phone every day and take short and long positions, right? That is what would help us make money. That's what I said. Let's start to make some money. Don't take this seriously, okay? If this were actually making money, I wouldn't be here. I did this business for 7 years with a large hedge fund in the US. We were managing, of course, almost $1 billion every day. Right? All these hundreds of stock prices would come and then our models would predict and then they would go back. But I think 2008 meltdown put an end to that business of all of us. Yeah? Sure? Are we getting this? Right?
Yes.
Okay, great guys. So we have learned a lot today. Now next class onwards, now we know how to look at data, visualize data, draw tables. Yeah? Next class onwards, we'll begin statistics. Right? Next class onwards, we begin with proper statistics. Right? We'll begin with ideas of, I'm going to begin with very basic thing, mean, variance, covariance, correlation, and like that, and how to do all that in R. And then we'll go on to a linear regression model and, all the hypothesis testing business and how to do it in a modern way, not in the old way of checking tables and checking for normality. And that's all not necessary anymore. Right? Any questions you guys have on what we did today? Yeah. नहीं आ रहा आपका?
ये मैंने बनाया पूरा।
हाँ।
इसमें मैंने सब सेव किया। उसके बाद वो भी इधर गए।
Can you show code?
Yeah, I'll just show you the code.
इस
Yeah.
ये इधर
भाई मेरे इधर कॉमा है बंधु, आपने डॉट क्यों डाला है? एक नया आइडिया है ना, एक एक उसको बोलेंगे फिल करो, फिर अल्फा ना अमेजोन, तो वो कॉमा आना चाहिए ना, आपने डॉट डाला था और कुछ नहीं। क्योंकि आपने ये लाइब्रेरी जीजी प्लॉट 2 है ना बाबू, आपने सिर्फ जीजी प्लॉट लिखा है लाइब्रेरी का नाम। डूइंग, take your time, get these graphs. Ale?
So I have one question.
Yes, Pallavi.
Yes. So like when I am plotting these graphs, now make this. That's a Google and this one Amazon. So on the x-axis, I can see the name on the laterally the Google.
No, you don't. You'll have to put legends separately because it is a density function. There is nothing on the x-axis. You'll have to put some legend in the end. You'll have to add a new. So find out how to add legends to a GG plot. Right? You'll have to add legends. You'll have to tell the computer which is what. Right? And there's a way of doing that. We still haven't got there. We're just at the moment remembering.
I'm getting only Google. And
Yeah.
Getting this the name only one stop.
Yeah, because the first time we said Google, no? That's why. But we'll have to say, if you say X lab, Y lab, what we did, no? If you put that, right? We did previously, we did how to write titles and all that. So if you say return, stock return on the x-axis, y-axis density or say some something like that, probability, then it will give you the right titles. So go back to our previous class and what we did before T and then put the titles there. एक्स एक्सिस वाय एक्सिस कसे टाकायचे ऑल ऑफ अस नो दॅट राईट. आगे क्यों नहीं, अभी तो क्यों नहीं आना चाहिए ना.
नहीं वो एक्सेल पे ही कुछ गड़बड़.
क्यों फिल ग्रीन, ये प्राइसेस और सीएसवी रीड हो रहा है क्या बंधु. इतने आपने कैपिटल डाला है.
हाँ मेरा फाइल का वो कैपिटल ही,
क्या कैपिटल है.
जो मैंने फाइल बनाया है उसको मैंने कैपिटल ही सेव किया है.
नहीं उसको यहाँ इसके कुछ भी डालना चाहिए ना इधर. आप कुछ भी यहाँ अगर ये
क्या आता है फाइल का नेम ना?
ना फाइल का नेम यहाँ है प्राइसेस डॉट सीएसवी. फाइल किसमें सेव किया है, किस नाम से किया है.
फाइल prices.csv से किया और उस फाइल को ISPE के अंदर सेव किया.
यहाँ पर इसमें आर में आईएसपी के अंदर रीड किया. आपका फाइल कहाँ है बंधु वो.
इसको
खोलिए आपका एक्सेल खोलिए.
ये है ISPE.
अरे भाई ऐसे नहीं
इसको अलग से करना था.
मेरे भाई, ये इसका इससे ये जो आपने लिखा है इसका आपके फोल्डर से कुछ भी संबंध नहीं है. इसको आप आर में किस नाम से करना चाहते हो वो है. तो अगर इसको आपने छोटे आईएसपी में किया है ना नीचे, समझ गए. तो ये कहाँ है भी आपका कंसोल.
इधर ही है वो. उसको मिनिमाइज कर.
कहाँ से मिनिमाइज करें, यहाँ से. हाँ
इधर
क्योंकि आपने ये कह रहा है कि नो सच फाइल और डायरेक्टरी, क्योंकि आपने आपका सेशन कहाँ सेव किया है. सेट वर्किंग डायरेक्टरी कौन सा है, चूज डायरेक्टरी ना. ये आईएसपी कहाँ है आपका वर्किंग डायरेक्टरी. जिससे भी वर्किंग डायरेक्टरी में काम करना चाहते हैं. हाँ है ना, ये होना चाहिए ना. अब कहाँ है आपका कोड. नहीं कहाँ है, कहाँ आपका.
अरे वो तो उसमें था
कहाँ से.
ट्विटर में.
कौन तो जिसमें एडिटर में. हाँ कौन से, लेकिन किस कहीं पर सेव होगा ना. हाँ ये है ना, ये भी नहीं. किसी भी फाइल से आपने सेव किया होगा ना. किसी तो कहीं तो होगा एडिटर में. हाँ है ना.
एक से इसको कॉपी करके वहाँ ट्विटर.
क्यों. अच्छा ये आप कहाँ कर रहे हैं, ये तो सोर्स ये आर स्टूडियो में नहीं कर रहे हैं.
हाँ स्टूडियो में नहीं हुआ था वो.
नहीं हुआ था क्योंकि आप गड़बड़ कर रहे थे ना. तो स्टूडियो बदल से नहीं होगा, कच्चा बदलने से 10 नहीं रुकता है. अलग फोल्डर बदल के कुछ काम नहीं हुआ. अभी प्राइसेस वर्ल्ड सीरीज आपका सेशन जो है ना, सेट वर्किंग डायरेक्टरी, चूज डायरेक्टरी, डेस्क लोड. हाँ कहाँ है ISPE या
Sir, I was using the same top.
हाँ तो you have to see what have you saved it as. अच्छा ये सेव कहाँ किया आपने, प्राइसेस डॉट. ये फाइल बताइए आपका.
वही ISPE है.
वो ISPE कहाँ है, खोलिए. ISPE कहाँ है. ओके अभी यहाँ पे कहाँ है, प्राइसेस है ना. प्राइसेस है, लेकिन भाई साहब आपने प्राइसेस को क्या नाम से सेव किया है. ओए, ये बीच में इतना गैप कि एप्पल में तो कोई है ही नहीं.
वो हुआ नहीं था उस टाइम.
हुआ नहीं था कुछ नहीं. ऐसे वैसे कोई डेटा थोड़ी कोई पड़ेगा. ये पूरा ठीक से कॉपी करो ना उसको.
ठीक है.
आपके पास अगर अभी मैं ये सब हटा देता हूँ, ये कोई भी आर नहीं, कोई भी नहीं पढ़ सकता इसको. क्यों
डेटा कंटिन्यूस होना चाहिए.
ये गैप्स क्यों नहीं होने चाहिए, सब डेटा होना चाहिए ना. अगर उसमें डेटा है ही नहीं तो कैसे पढ़ेगा. तो ये पहले ये रो हटाइए, ये हटाइए, ये खाली कॉलम हटाइए और फिर उसको सेव कीजिए. आपने उसको सेव किया है, देखिए आपने सेव किया है दिस पीसी में, ISPA में सेव करना चाहिए. आपने एक्सेल में किया है. मैं कब से बोल रहा हूँ कि आपको उसको CSV में सेव करना है. अगर आप बोल रहे हैं कि CSV फाइल रीड करो तो XLS है ना इधर, तो आर वर्ग ये है नहीं फाइल. अभी ये रीड होगा लेकिन बहुत कचरा टाइप रीड होगा क्योंकि अंदर कुछ उसके ठीक नहीं है। देखो अभी,
ये स्टूडियो नहीं है।
अरे यार तुम बहुत गड़बड़ करते हो, ऐसे मत करो यार, कुछ होगा नहीं इससे, है ना। अभी तुम्हारा जो है ना, ये रीड कर दिया उसने, है ना। अभी अभी व्यू ISPE करोगे, ये आ गया, लेकिन ये सब गड़बड़ है ना, ऐसे थोड़ी कोई एनालिसिस होगा। तो आपको ठीक से कॉपी करना चाहिए, CSV फाइल्स भी अच्छी तरह से, तभी तो होगा। आपके डेटा फाइल क्लीन नहीं होगी तो क्या होगा। अच्छा, यस, somebody else had the same question. Hello? Yeah.
Hello. Can you repeat, sir?
What do you want me to repeat?
Sir, please see how CSP pilot is.
Can I see your screen? Yeah, sure. I can't see your screen, Jitendra.
Here.
Yeah, अभी, अरे बाबा जितेंद्र, have you set your directory to where you saved your, कहाँ, where have you saved your file? Show me your screen again. Can I see your screen? Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I can see your screen. Can you show? Can I see your R code?
I have here.
Prices.csv कहाँ सेव किया आपने? डेस्कटॉप नीरज आतेकर, right? You saved it as a CSV file, correct. Now show me your R code. Okay. What is your working directory? Go to sessions. Go to session on top. सेशन उसके ऊपर का लाइन, हाँ, वहाँ पे सेट वर्किंग डायरेक्टरी लिखा हुआ है। गो टू चूज डायरेक्टरी लिखा है नीचे, हाँ, वहाँ जाके अभी कौन सा डायरेक्टरी है? नीरज आतिकर डायरेक्टरी है। बट आई डोंट सी एनी CSV फाइल्स देयर, prices.csv। अच्छा, फोल्डर तो ठीक है, बट आई डोंट सी एनी prices.csv। उसको भी ओपन कीजिए, उसको ठीक है, उसको सेट कीजिए, सेट दैट एज अ वर्किंग डायरेक्टरी। prices.csv वो फाइल खोलिए एक्सेल में।
It's just a there's purpose.
हाँ, तो AMZN, रिमेंबर AMZN आपने कैपिटल लिखा है NVIDIA। अच्छा, उसको अभी सेव कीजिए, फाइल कीजिए, क्लिक कीजिए फाइल पे, क्लिक कीजिए ना, ऊपर कॉर्नर में, लेफ्ट हैंड कॉर्नर, फाइल, हाँ, सेव एज दिस PC, हाँ, नीरज आतेकर, ओके। एक्सेल वर्कबुक नहीं, CSV नीचे, हाँ, CSV कॉमा डिलिमिटेड, करेक्ट ऊपर, हाँ, करेक्ट, क्लिक कीजिए, सेव कीजिए, सेव नीचे, हाँ, कीजिए, ओके। नाउ आर को रन कीजिए, गो टू आर। अभी ये इसको वो लाइन वो सब रन, कंट्रोल आर हो गया ना आपका, रीड कर ली, हाँ, डन जितेंद्र।
Yeah.
Okay, folks. So thank you, folks, very much for the day today. Now next class onwards we'll start statistics. Okay, अभी तो आपको डेटा रीड राइट, बेसिक विजुअलाइजेशन, टेबल बनाना सब आ गया ना। ओके, श्योर, तो थैंक यू। Okay, folks, thank you very much.